Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk big game hunting bullets. And I'm going to give my opinion on what I think the 5 best big game hunting bullets are. Let's get into it. Let's just bring up the obvious real quick. Everyone has their favorite hunting bullet. And every hunting bullet has a success and failure story, even with good shot placement. That even includes the partition. And when I give you my top 5 bullets, there's going to be a lot of you that disagree. There's going to be a lot that probably agree. And that's okay. Let's just get straight into this. Coming in at number 5, I have the Nosler ballistic tip. I know what a lot of you are thinking. Wait, what? Reloading Weatherby is recommending a frangible cup and core bullet? What the heck has happened to him, right? Yeah, I guess Jason is to blame for that. All right, seriously though, I do think if you're someone that prefers frangible cup and core bullets, you just can't go wrong with the ballistic tip. It's a really good performer. It's an accurate bullet, and there's so many to choose from. Now, when we're talking about the ballistic tip, I'm not specifically referring to a 115 grain in 25 caliber. It's all of the ballistic tips. And so Nosler does a really good job at providing so many options for the ballistic tip. And I don't know, it's just a darn good bullet. Coming in at number 4, we have the exact opposite type of bullet from the Nosler ballistic tip. We have the Barnes mono bullets. Now, the very first hand load I ever made for hunting in my 300 Weatherby Magnum was with the 175 grain Barnes LRX. And I've got to say, Barnes makes some darn accurate bullets. This 175 LRX loaded in my 300 Weatherby has been easily my most consistent accurate load I've ever have found in my 300 Weatherby. It will consistently stay sub MOA, a lot of times half MOA and smaller. It's just a consistent performer. I have also gotten very, very small groups with the Barnes TTSX in my 340 Weatherby. Here's proof. Quarter MOA. Copper bullets are very accurate. Now, if you're going to use a copper bullet, I would highly recommend you pick a certain weight bullet for your application. What's your application? Your caliber, your cartridge, really. I would not be recommending, a 308 Winchester with the 175 grain LRX. I think it's a little on the heavy side. You're not going to get enough velocity, and it's going to really limit your range. And, if you have a 6.5 Creedmoor, I would say load up a 120 grain. I do think eventually mono bullets are going to be the future of hunting bullets in general, whether you like it or not. And I do think there's a lot of upside for mono bullets. As I've already said, they are very accurate bullets. The other thing is, what I really like is you put 2 holes through an animal. And then I think the common phrase about mono bullets penciling through, I think it's actually overblown. I've killed a whitetail deer with this 175 LRX, and it was immediately DRT. Coming in at number 3, we have just your typical bonded bullets. Now, I have the accubond in front of me. It is one of my favorites, but what I like to tell people is try out a bunch of different bonded bullets and go with the one that shoots the best in your rifle. For example, I think one really underrated bonded bullet is the new Spear Impact. They come in 30 caliber. You can hand load them in 6.5 as well. There's just not a lot of them. But what I have found from the Spear Impact is that they perform extremely well, accuracy-wise. And early reports, I haven't used them on game yet, is that they do really well on game as well. What are the benefits of a bonded bullet? Well, you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. You get a bit more bigger of a temporary wound cavity than a mono bullet, and it's also extremely likely that you're going to penetrate through the whole animal like a mono bullet. Now, there's a couple downsides to bonded bullets. Number 1 is the price. They are expensive, which kind of stinks. The other downside is, generally speaking, they're going to be a little bit more finicky to load for or to find that factory ammo that shoots really well. They just aren't as consistent in the accuracy department as mono bullets or your traditional cup and core, but they can be very accurate. Coming in at number 2 is the Federal Terminal Ascent. This bullet is just cool. And for a lot of people, it's their number 1. And I do think this is a extremely good, tough, big game bullet. What is it? Well, it's kind of a hybrid bullet. You know, the first half of the bullet is bonded, and then the second half is a mono bullet. You're going to get even better penetration than a typical bonded bullet, and you're going to get a bigger wound cavity than a mono bullet. Now, what are some of the downsides to the Terminal Ascent? And this is kind of a big one. It's extremely hard to find as a hand loader. I know this box says the 175 is for 30-06. This is actually the 200 grain Terminal Ascent that I've been loading in my 300 Weatherby. And if you notice something, it's a pulled bullet. You know, I wasn't able to even get these straight from Federal. Kind of got them as pulled bullets, but they still shoot extremely well and perform very well. The next problem with the Terminal Ascent is, man, if you thought the Nosler accubond was expensive, hold on to your butts, because the Terminal Ascent is stupid expensive to get. Well over $1 around. Yeah, unfortunately, they are very expensive. Now let's talk about bonded bullets or even mono bullets. Making sure, again, I want to hit home on this, making sure you're using them in the right application. As I said, I would never load this 200 grain Terminal Ascent in a 308 Winchester. It would just limit my range. It would just not be very smart. If you're going to hunt with a 308, a 7mm 08, or a 6.5 Creedmoor, honestly, go to a cup and core bullet or shoot a really light bonded or mono bullet. Coming in at number 1, and what I believe to be the best hunting bullet ever made, is the Nosler accubond long range. However, there's an asterisk next to this bullet. Anyone that has loaded for it knows it can be an extremely picky bullet as far as accuracy goes. Now, some guns just absolutely love it, and I'm very jealous of you, because most of my guns, it's been a very finicky bullet to load for in my guns. If you can get these to shoot, holy cow, legitimately, it's the best of everything, okay? You are going to get your penetration because this is a bonded bullet. However, this is a very soft bonded bullet, so you are going to get a big temporary wound cavity like a cup and core. You also get the extremely high BC. So this is a 265 grain in 338. Check out that G7 369. Holy cow. All around, this bullet, if it shoots well, is so hard to beat. I want to hear from you guys. Do you agree with any of my picks? Do you wholeheartedly disagree with all of them? I'd like to know. You know, I do lean towards the tougher bullets with controlled expansion that won't be as explosive temporary wound cavities, but will almost guarantee have a second hole in the animal. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.